Hey, what's going on, guys? Tsubasa back with finally the very first entry of year 22. I don't have a book still, so I'm just using paper that I wrote on, and I'll talk about why I wrote it instead of waiting to get my book. So, November 21st, 2024, 9:47 p.m. to 10:40 p.m. I thought I'd be able to keep myself from writing an entry until I got my new journal, but I can't hold on for as long as I thought. I broke down in tears just a moment ago, and my eyes are still watery. I got to this position from a few things. To start, I'm tired. My sleep schedule hasn't been the best this week, so I'm in a bit of a haze. Secondly, my brain is slowly being drained as I spent 3 hours writing for my concrete homework. 6 pages for just one question. I hope I did it right. I also haven't ate until a little while ago, so I was hungry for a while since around 2 p.m. What really made my glass pane shatter was rediscovering James Blunt, and specifically his song Monsters. It's about his father dying and his way of saying goodbye. It hit me in my soul because although my father's still alive and well, he has not always been home because of work. As a child, this made it hard to get to know him. I can recall how I didn't understand why he was so strict at times. In a way, I had some resentment toward him. When I had became a teenager, I still didn't have a good grasp of who he was. It wasn't until he resigned from the Air Force that I really got to know him. If there are two things I learned about my father, it's that he can be a bit goofy at times and that he is very wise. Sometimes my mother will be talking to him and he'll mishear something and then reiterate what he thought he heard. My mother would then correct him, and then my siblings, my mother, and I would all exchange a glance that says, "Get a load of this guy." He'd be so unaware of it, and he would just start whistling or making a random quote or quip. Something I tend to do at times myself. My dad is wise because he is always capable of helping me. Taxes, car, self defense, and eventually house troubles don't even seem to stand in his way. Not only that, but he always seems to come up with the most genius sayings that stick in my head, like when he told me that fail just stands for first attempt in learning. Nowadays, my father's schedule is more relaxed, and I see him almost every time I go home. We tend to bond over things like video games, such as Clash Royale and God of War. My dad is really good at Clash Royale. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that in 4 years I'll be at the same age in which my father became a father. I have no idea where I'd be or who I'd meet or what I'll have learned or who I'd be. I wonder if my dad felt the same when he was 22. I guess I never really looked back at how much my dad was here for me this entire time. My favorite song, Black by Pearl Jam, was from the album 10 that he recommended to me when I asked him what his favorite songs were. His emphasis on the three pillars of life, mental, physical, and spiritual, are priorities I try to uphold to be happy. And no matter how far I've fallen or how far I've strayed from the path, two things he says stay consistent. I love you. I'm proud of you. I love you too, Dad. And I can't thank you enough for how much you've been there for me. No amount of Father's Day gifts, birthday presents, or any material possessions could show how much I am grateful for having you watch over me, whether at home or up in the sky. I love you, Dad. Forever and always. Your son. It's not every day that you think about your dad. If you have one, or if you had one, and their impact that they've left on your life. Now, not every father is necessarily the most fit for parenting someone. there are some instances and cases that I've heard in which they are not good. And I really do feel sorry for those who grow up without a father. And I feel like in one way or another, someone eventually comes along that feels like a father figure to someone. Whether it's their older brother, their uncle, a grandfather, a friend's dad, a teacher even. There always seems to be someone that's always looking out for us, the sons, because they want to see us grow and they want to see us succeed in life because they know that they are only helping us further ourselves and become better people. It's crazy when I look at myself sometimes and realize how much of my dad is kind of a part of me. You know, he makes up 50% of the gene pool, but with all my experiences and the environment that surrounds me, it's astounding how I always have some sort of response and then think like, that sounds like my dad. Like I sound like my dad, you know? I feel like we don't appreciate fathers enough for being a father. And although, you know, we have Father's Day, it's it just doesn't feel like much. Like on Mother's Day, I give my I give my father a card for Father's Day and I give my mother a card for for Mother's Day. But on Mother's Day, we go out and we like go and do something. For Father's Day, I don't recall really anything that happens. There are those times in which, you know, your father's not around or, you know, you might not have a father and you really need some sort of backbone or someone to talk to. Because there are times in which I have issues and I really don't want to talk to it about my to my mother, but I'd rather talk about it to like my dad or a friend. When I recently went home, I got home and my father had a chimenea set out in the backyard. And we had talked about a bunch of different things. But one thing that, you know, stuck in my head, especially because I'm playing the game right now, is we should have a God of War movie. And we were talking about all the different things that they can do and why no one has kind of tapped into this potential of creating a God of War movie. And so I feel like just things like that help me kind of figure out who my dad is as a person, especially because most of the time I don't really I don't really get a peek into really how he does things. You know, how does my dad deal with his issues? Because I don't know. I have no clue how my dad deals with his issues. I don't know if he works out and uses that as like his therapy or if, you know, he talks to his friends and is just like, man, I've had this really sucky day, you know. I really have no clue. Because becoming an adult myself, I am faced with similar challenges of being an adult and doing adult things. And I'm coming into this not really knowing what I should do when I'm under a lot of pressure from these responsibilities. It's amazing how my dad seems to always have his cool when it just comes to, you know, taxes and all the other stuff, car troubles, you know. He's like, "Oh, we got to get this done now." Like, yes, he's annoyed that we have to do it, but he knows that it's a problem that just has to be addressed and has to be fixed. My father is very much a get it done and out of the way if we have a problem. Like, let's start making a solution so we cannot have these problems linger. And I'm very much of the same person myself. To my father, if you are somehow watching this, hi. It's weird that you found me on a YouTube video, but I just want to let you know that thank you for being there for me. I really appreciate it. And I hope that one day I can do the same for a son of mine. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you later. I have a God of War stream coming up right after this video, so if you're seeing this when this video comes out, go check that out. Peace.